The anomaly. In a modest laboratory in Chicago, Dr. Sarah Chen adjusted her equipment for what felt like the thousandth time. The fusion reactor prototype hummed quietly in front of her, its core glowing with a soft blue light that had become her constant companion during late-night experiments. She'd spent 12 years chasing what her colleagues called an impossible dream: clean, sustainable fusion energy that could be produced at room temperature. Tonight felt different. The quantum resonance patterns were aligning in ways her models had predicted but never achieved. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she initiated the final sequence. The reactor's hum grew deeper, and the blue light intensified, casting strange shadows across the lab's cluttered surfaces. Thousands of light-years away, aboard the observation station Sentinel Prime, Monitor Vexlar's 6 eyes widened in alarm. The insectoid being's mandibles clicked rapidly as impossible readings flooded his displays. The primitive planet, designated as Sol 3, was producing an energy signature that defied every known law of physics. "Commander," Vexlar called, his translator converting his clicks into the common tongue. "You need to see this immediately." Commander Zara, a crystalline being whose body refracted light in mesmerizing patterns, floated to the monitoring station. Her form pulsed with concern as she examined the data. "This is not possible. The energy output exceeds input by a factor of 12. Contact the Scientific Council immediately." Back on Earth, Sarah stared at her instruments in disbelief. The reactor was producing stable fusion at room temperature, outputting far more energy than she was feeding into it. According to everything she knew about physics, this was impossible. The conservation of energy was a fundamental law, yet her creation seemed to be violating it casually. As she documented her findings, Sarah noticed something odd. The air around the reactor shimmered, and symbols she didn't recognize began appearing on her computer screens. The equipment wasn't just working, it was evolving, displaying information in languages no human had ever seen. The Hegemony Scientific Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 37 species gathered in a vast chamber that curved impossibly, defying normal geometry. At the center floated a holographic display of Earth, with Sarah's laboratory highlighted by a pulsing red dot. "The implications are staggering," declared Counselor Thrain, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid shell. "If this human has discovered true energy amplification, it could solve our civilization's greatest crisis. Or destroy us all," countered Admiral Crix of the warrior caste, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's lights. "Such power in primitive hands is dangerous. We should secure it immediately." The debate raged for hours. The hegemony faced extinction within generations as their energy sources dwindled. Entire star systems had gone dark, civilizations collapsing as power failed. They had tried everything: harvesting stellar energy, splitting atoms, even attempting to tap into the quantum foam itself. Nothing had provided the sustainable solution they desperately needed. Finally, Chief Scientist Melodix spoke. Her ethereal form, resembling a living aurora, commanded immediate attention. "We must approach with caution and respect. If this human has achieved what we could not, perhaps there is something unique about their species that we have overlooked." The council voted. A first contact team would be dispatched immediately, led by Ambassador Qin, known for her diplomatic skills and ability to communicate with primitive species. Sarah worked through the night, unaware that her life was about to change forever. The reactor continued its impossible performance, and she began to notice patterns in the energy fluctuations. It was almost as if the device was communicating, responding to her thoughts and adjustments in ways that transcended mere mechanical operation. At dawn, she stood at her lab window, watching the sunrise paint Chicago's skyline in gold and pink. The breakthrough she'd achieved would change everything. Unlimited clean energy for all humanity. No more wars over resources, no more environmental destruction. It was the dawn of a new age. She didn't notice the shimmer in the air behind her, or the 3 figures that materialized silently in her laboratory. Ambassador Qin, a being of shifting liquid metal, cleared her throat gently. "Dr. Sarah Chen," she said in perfect English, her voice like wind chimes, "we need to talk about your remarkable discovery." Sarah spun around, nearly dropping her coffee mug. Before her stood three beings that clearly weren't human. The liquid metal woman, a creature that looked like a praying mantis made of crystal, and something that resembled a small storm cloud with eyes. "Don't be afraid," Qin continued, her form shifting to appear more humanoid. "We come in peace. My name is Ambassador Qin of the Galactic Hegemony. Your work has attracted attention far beyond your world." Sarah's scientific mind raced. Part of her wanted to panic, but the larger part was fascinated. "You're aliens? Real aliens?" "Yes," Qin replied with what might have been a smile. "And what you've created could save not just your species, but thousands of civilizations across the galaxy. We've been searching for a solution to our energy crisis for millennia. You, Dr. Qin, may have just found it." Sarah looked at her fusion reactor, still humming impossibly, still defying the laws of physics as she knew them. "I don't understand. This shouldn't be working at all." "That's precisely why we're here," Qin said. "Sometimes, the universe reveals its secrets to those who don't know they're impossible to uncover. Will you help us understand what you've done?" Sarah Chen, quantum physicist from Chicago, stood at the threshold of the greatest adventure in human history. She took a deep breath and made her choice. "Show me everything." Contact. Sarah's laboratory transformed before her eyes as the aliens deployed their technology. Holographic displays materialized in midair, showing star maps of incredible complexity. The crystalline mantis being, introduced as technical specialist Cree, interfaced directly with her equipment, translating the mysterious symbols that had appeared on her screens. "Your device creates a quantum cascade effect," Cree explained, his voice like glass wind chimes. "It doesn't just produce energy. It amplifies the fundamental forces of the universe itself." The storm cloud entity, Navigator Drift, swirled excitedly. "In 10,000 years of searching, no species has achieved this. The closest attempt destroyed 3 star systems." Sarah's mind reeled. "Wait, you're saying my little fusion experiment could destroy star systems?" Ambassador Qin's liquid metal form rippled soothingly. "No, your approach is different. Safer. That's why we're here. The hegemony faces extinction without a new energy source. Entire civilizations are going dark." She gestured, and the holographic display showed a map of the galaxy. Vast swaths dimmed and flickered out like dying embers. "We've exhausted our resources. Wars have been fought over the last remaining energy reserves. Your discovery could end all of that." Sarah paced her lab, processing the magnitude of what she was hearing. "You want me to help you replicate this technology?" "More than that," Qin replied. "We need to understand why you succeeded where thousands of more advanced civilizations failed. There's something unique about human cognition that allowed this breakthrough." A new hologram appeared, showing Earth from space. "We've observed your species for centuries. Your creativity, your ability to imagine the impossible and then make it real. It's unprecedented in the galaxy." Sarah's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. 17 missed calls from her department head. "I need to tell someone about this. The government, the scientific community." "That would be complicated," Qin said carefully. "Earth isn't ready for full disclosure. But we're prepared to work through official channels. Your leaders are being contacted as we speak." As if on cue, Sarah's lab door burst open. General Morrison, flanked by a team of military personnel, entered with weapons drawn. They froze at the sight of the aliens. "Dr. Chen, step away from the visitors," Morrison ordered, his voice steady despite the shock in his eyes. Ambassador Qin raised her hands in a peaceful gesture. "General Morrison, we've been expecting you. Your president has been briefed. Perhaps you'd like to verify." Morrison's earpiece crackled. After a tense moment, he lowered his weapon. "Stand down," he ordered his team. He turned to Sarah. Dr. Chen, you're now part of the most classified project in human history. These beings have requested your assistance, and our government has agreed, conditionally. The next few hours blurred together. High-level officials arrived, documents were signed, and protocols were established. Sarah found herself at the center of humanity's first official contact with alien life, all because of her fusion experiment. The conditions are simple. Qin explained to the assembled group. Dr. Chen will assist us in understanding and replicating her technology. In return, Earth will receive protected status within the hegemony, access to our medical technology, and a seat on the Galactic Council once your species is ready. General Morrison leaned forward. And the military applications of this technology. Qin's form solidified slightly, taking on a more serious appearance. That's precisely what we're trying to prevent. This technology, weaponized, could destroy galaxies. We need to ensure it's used only for peaceful purposes. Sarah interrupted. I won't help create weapons, if that's what this is about. It's not, Qin assured her. The hegemony's charter forbids the weaponization of fundamental forces. We need this for survival, not destruction. Technical specialist Kree added, though some factions within the hegemony may have different ideas. That's why speed and secrecy are essential. Sarah made her decision. I'll help you, but I have conditions too. I want to bring a team, people I trust, and I want guarantees that this technology will benefit Earth, not just the hegemony. Negotiations continued into the night. By dawn, an agreement was reached. Sarah would leave a team of human specialists to the hegemony's research facility. They would work to understand and replicate her breakthrough while ensuring Earth's interests were protected. As preparations began for their departure, Sarah had a private moment with Ambassador Qin. Why me? She asked. Surely you have scientists far more advanced than I am. Qin's form shifted thoughtfully. Sometimes, Dr. Chen, the most profound discoveries come from those who don't know what's impossible. Your species has a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Perhaps ignorance of impossibility is its father. Sarah smiled at that. When do we leave? As soon as your team is assembled. Choose wisely. You'll be representing humanity's potential to the galaxy. Over the next week, Sarah selected her team. Dr. James Watson, a theoretical physicist known for thinking outside conventional paradigms. Dr. Maria Vasquez, a neuroscientist studying creativity and problem-solving. Dr. Alan Turner, an engineer who specialized in impossible machines. And Dr. Lai Wei, a mathematician who saw patterns where others saw chaos. The night before departure, Sarah stood on her apartment balcony, looking up at the stars. Tomorrow, she would travel among them. The weight of responsibility was enormous. The survival of countless civilizations, the future of humanity's place in the galaxy, all resting on her ability to understand her own creation. Her phone rang. It was her mother. Mom, I'm going on a research trip. I might be gone for a while. Sarah, is everything okay? You sound different. Everything's fine, Mom. Better than fine. I'm about to do something important, something that could change everything. Just promise me you'll be careful. Sarah smiled, looking up at the stars that would soon be her destination. I promise, Mom. I'll be careful. And when I come back, the world will be a better place. The next morning, Sarah and her team gathered at a secured facility. Ambassador Qin and her delegation waited beside a ship that looked like a sculpture of liquid crystal. Ready to make history? Qin asked. Sarah took a deep breath, thinking of her fusion reactor, still humming impossibly in her lab. Ready to save the galaxy, she replied. Together, they stepped aboard the ship, and humanity's greatest adventure began. Part 3. The Journey Beyond. The crystalline ship lifted silently from Earth, passing through the atmosphere like light through water. Sarah pressed her face against what she assumed was a window, but felt more like a membrane of pure energy. Below, Earth shrank to a blue marble, then a pinpoint of light, then vanished entirely as they entered what Ambassador Qin called fold space. Your Einstein was partially correct about space-time, Qin explained as reality seemed to bend around them, but he never imagined we could fold it like origami. The journey to the hegemony's Central Research Complex took 3 days by Earth's reckoning, though Sarah suspected time flowed differently in fold space. During the trip, she and her team received crash courses in galactic history, xenobiology, and the fundamental crisis facing the hegemony. 17,000 civilizations, Dr. Vasquez marveled, reviewing the data. And they're all facing energy collapse. Technical specialist Kree's crystalline form clinked as he nodded. We expanded too quickly, consumed too much. Now the basic fabric of our society is unraveling. The ship emerged from fold space near a structure that defied comprehension. The Central Research Complex was a sphere the size of Earth's moon, constructed around a captured neutron star. Layers of exotic matter contained the star's immense gravitational field while harvesting its energy. Impressive, isn't it? Qin said. Yet even this marvel produces barely enough power to sustain itself. Your discovery, Dr. Chen, makes this look like a campfire. As they docked, Sarah noticed dozens of other ships, sleek warships, bulbous freighters, and vessels that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The diversity of alien life astounded her. Beings of pure energy, creatures that communicated through color changes, entities that existed as collective consciousnesses. Inside the complex, they were greeted by Director Yellen, a being who appeared to be made of flowing quicksilver. Dr. Chen, your reputation precedes you. The entire scientific community awaits your insights. Sarah's team was assigned a laboratory that made her facility on Earth look prehistoric. Holographic interfaces responded to thought. Fabricators could create any tool or component instantly, and the AI assistants understood concepts before they were fully articulated. First, we need to recreate your original experiment, Kree announced, his crystalline appendages interfacing with the equipment. We've analyzed your designs, but something fundamental is missing. Sarah began reconstructing her fusion device with alien technology. Everything was perfect, too perfect. After a week of attempts, the device remained stubbornly normal, producing only the expected energy output. I don't understand, Sarah muttered, reviewing the data for the 100th time. Every component is identical, but improved. It should work better, not worse. Dr. Wei looked up from his calculations. Maybe that's the problem. Your original device worked because it was imperfect. Dr. Watson added, remember what Ambassador Qin said about not knowing what's impossible. Maybe we're overthinking this. Inspiration struck Sarah like lightning. Everyone out, she ordered. I need to work alone. Confused but compliant, her team and the alien scientists left the lab. Sarah disabled the AI assistants, turned off the automated systems, and began working with her hands. She deliberately introduced flaws, misaligned components, and used instinct rather than precision. Hours later, exhausted but exhilarated, she activated the device. The familiar blue glow appeared, and energy readings spiked beyond theoretical limits. It's working, she called out. The team rushed back in, staring in amazement at the impossible readings. Director Yellen's quicksilver form rippled with excitement. Extraordinary. But how? Sarah grinned. It's not about perfection. It's about intuition, creativity, and a willingness to break the rules. The device works because I didn't know it shouldn't. This revelation transformed their approach. The alien scientists, accustomed to precise calculations and flawless execution, struggled with the concept of beneficial imperfection. Sarah's team began teaching them about human creativity, showing them how to think outside their advanced but rigid paradigms. Your species has something we lost long ago, Yalin admitted during one late-night session. The ability to imagine beyond the boundaries of known science. As weeks passed, they made breakthrough after breakthrough. The fusion device was scaled up, producing enough energy to power entire star systems. Sarah learned that human cognitive patterns created unique quantum resonances that the aliens couldn't replicate. But not everyone celebrated these successes. Military observers from various hegemony factions watched with growing concern. In secret meetings, they discussed the implications of humanity's unique abilities. If they can do this with energy, what else might they achieve? Admiral Crix demanded during one such gathering. They could destabilize the entire galactic order. Or save it, countered Ambassador Kin, who had been secretly monitoring these discussions. Fear of change has held us back for too long. Meanwhile, Sarah began noticing odd occurrences. Equipment would malfunction when certain observers were present. Data would go missing. Security protocols would mysteriously activate, locking down sections of the lab. "Someone doesn't want us to succeed," Dr. Turner observed after another unexplained incident. Sarah nodded grimly. "Or they want to control what we discover. We need to be careful." One night, while working late, Sarah made an even more significant discovery. The energy field generated by her device could be modulated to affect consciousness itself. She could enhance creativity, facilitate communication between incompatible species, even heal psychological trauma. This isn't just about power generation, she realized. It's about connection, understanding, evolution. She shared this discovery only with her core team and Ambassador Kin. They agreed to keep it secret, sensing that such knowledge could be dangerous in the wrong hands. As their work progressed, Sarah began to understand the true magnitude of what she'd created. The fusion device was just the beginning. Humanity's unique cognitive abilities, combined with alien technology, could revolutionize galactic civilization. But revolution always comes with resistance. And as Sarah would soon learn, some powers in the galaxy would do anything to maintain the status quo. Late one night, Kin appeared in Sarah's quarters, her liquid metal form agitated. "We need to talk. The military faction is planning something. They see your success as a threat." "What kind of threat?" Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer. "The kind that ends with your technology weaponized and your species subjugated," Kin replied. "We need to accelerate our timeline, and we need to prepare for what's coming." Sarah looked out at the stars visible through her quarters viewport. Somewhere out there, Earth continued its quiet rotation, unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding around one of its children. "Then we'd better make sure we're ready," she said, "because I didn't come all this way to let fear win over hope." The human element. Sarah assembled her team in their private quarters, away from surveillance systems. "We need more human perspectives," she announced. "Our breakthroughs come from thinking differently, not just from technical expertise." "What are you proposing?" Dr. Watson asked. "I want to bring in unconventional thinkers. Artists, musicians, chefs, people who see the world through completely different lenses." Ambassador Kin materialized in the room, having bypassed the security protocols. "I anticipated this request. The Council has approved bringing additional humans, though some members strongly opposed it." Within days, a second team arrived. Maya Rodriguez, a jazz pianist who visualized music as mathematical patterns. Chef Francois Dubois, famous for molecular gastronomy. Dr. Amira Nazari, a poet with a PhD in quantum mechanics, and Marcus Chang, a sculptor who worked with sound waves. The aliens watched in bewilderment as the expanded team transformed their sterile laboratory into what looked like creative chaos. Maya's piano melodies helped identify harmonic frequencies in the energy patterns. Francois used cooking techniques to demonstrate phase transitions in matter. Amira wrote equations as haikus, finding elegant simplifications that had eluded conventional analysis. Marcus sculpted energy fields like clay, revealing structural possibilities no one had imagined. "This is madness," complained senior researcher Thax, a six-armed being covered in mathematical symbols. "Science requires precision, not artistry." But the results were undeniable. Within weeks, they had improved the fusion device's efficiency by 300% and discovered 12 new applications for the technology. Sarah's favorite breakthrough came when Maya played a complex jazz improvisation, while Francois created a culinary foam that responded to sound waves. The combination revealed a method for storing energy in quantum bubbles that could be transported across space without loss. Your species thinks in parallels, Director Yelin observed, his quicksilver form reflecting the creative chaos around him. While we think in sequences, it's revolutionary. But revolution breeds resistance. Admiral Crix and his military faction grew increasingly alarmed. During a heated council session, he presented his case. These humans aren't just solving our energy crisis, Crix argued, his armored form towering over the assembly. They're revealing capabilities that could destabilize our entire civilization. What happens when they realize they can outthink us in military strategy, in governance, in everything? Ambassador Qin countered, or perhaps they'll help us evolve beyond our limitations. Fear of superior ability has caused more wars than ability itself. The debate raged while Sarah's team continued their work, unaware of the political storm brewing around them. They had just achieved their most significant breakthrough, a method for creating stable micro-universes that could serve as infinite energy sources. It's like having a tiny Big Bang in a bottle, Dr. Wei explained, his eyes shining with excitement. Each micro-universe generates energy as it expands, which we can harvest indefinitely. But their celebration was short-lived. That night, security forces loyal to Admiral Crix staged a coup. They stormed the laboratory, stunning the human team with neural disruptors. Sarah awoke in a containment cell, her head pounding. Through the energy field that served as walls, she could see her team in adjacent cells. Admiral Crix stood before them, his compound eyes gleaming. "Your species is too dangerous to remain free," he declared. "We'll extract your knowledge through direct neural mapping. The hegemony will control this technology, not primitive humans who stumbled upon it by accident." "You're making a mistake," Sarah warned. "The technology only works because of how we think. You can't extract creativity like data." Crix's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "We've been extracting knowledge from species for millennia. Your brains are just organic computers." As guards prepared the neural extraction equipment, Sarah noticed something odd. The energy field of her cell was fluctuating in response to her thoughts. The fusion breakthrough had changed her on a fundamental level. She could sense and manipulate energy patterns directly. She caught Dr. Vasquez's eye and tapped out a rhythm on her cell wall. Maya, recognizing it as a jazz pattern they'd been working with, began humming. Francois started describing recipes in French, his words carrying hidden mathematical sequences. Soon, all the humans were contributing to an improvised symphony of concepts. The combined creative resonance interfered with the containment fields. Energy patterns destabilized, and security systems began failing throughout the facility. "What are you doing?" Crix demanded, but it was too late. The cells deactivated simultaneously. Sarah's team moved with surprising coordination, their enhanced connection allowing them to act as one. They overwhelmed the guards using a combination of martial arts, which Dr. Turner had apparently studied, and improvised weapons created from laboratory equipment. As alarms blared throughout the complex, Ambassador Qin appeared with a group of loyalist forces. "This way," she called. "We have a ship waiting." During their escape, they discovered a horrifying truth. In a secret section of the facility, hundreds of beings from various species were held in stasis, their minds being slowly drained of knowledge. "This is how they've maintained technological superiority," Qin explained grimly. "They find species with unique abilities and harvest them." Among the captives, they found humans, scientists and artists who had disappeared mysteriously over the past century. Sarah recognized Dr. Elizabeth Marshall, a physicist who had vanished in 1952 after claiming to have developed a perpetual motion machine. "We can't leave them," Sarah insisted. Working quickly, they released as many captives as possible, creating chaos that covered their escape. The freed prisoners, many possessing extraordinary abilities, joined their flight to the waiting ship. As they blasted away from the complex, Sarah looked back at the massive structure. "Where do we go now?" "To the Galactic Council," Kin replied. "It's time to expose what's really been happening, but we'll need proof of your discoveries and evidence of Crix's crimes." "I have everything," Dr. Wei said, holding up a data crystal. "I've been backing up our work to a quantum-encrypted storage device. Force of habit from dealing with university politics." Sarah smiled despite their dire situation. Never underestimate human paranoia. Their ship, pursued by Crix's forces, made a desperate fold space jump toward the council chambers. But Sarah knew this was just the beginning. They had exposed a dark secret at the heart of galactic civilization, and the real battle was about to begin. As they traveled, Sarah worked with her team to refine their discovery. They realized that human creativity wasn't just solving the energy crisis, it was offering a new paradigm for galactic civilization. The question was whether the galaxy was ready for such a fundamental change. "Evolution is never easy," Ambassador Kin observed, watching Earth's star grow distant through the viewscreen. "But sometimes it's necessary for survival." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility for her species and for all the civilizations depending on their success. "Then let's make sure we evolve in the right direction." Betrayal and escape. The containment facility's alarms shrieked as Sarah and her team fought their way through corridors that seemed to shift and change. The freed captives, humans and aliens alike, moved with desperate purpose, their long imprisonment having forged an unspoken understanding. "The Council will never believe us without proof," Ambassador Kin warned as they reached a junction. Her liquid metal form rippled with anxiety. "Crix has allies everywhere." Dr. Marshall, the physicist rescued from stasis, spoke for the first time in 70 years. "The proof is in our minds." They'd been harvesting human creativity for decades, using it to maintain their technological edge. As they ran, Sarah noticed something remarkable. The freed captives were working together instinctively, each species contributing its unique abilities. A telepathic Vrin guided them through the maze-like facility. A shape-shifting morpher created diversions. The humans provided the creative solutions to obstacles that seemed insurmountable. This is what they feared, Sarah realized aloud. Not just human creativity, but what happens when different species combine their abilities. They reached the hangar bay where Ambassador Kin's ship waited, but Admiral Crix had anticipated their destination. Dozens of heavily armed guards blocked their path, led by Crix himself in full battle armor. "Surrender now," Crix commanded, his voice amplified by the armor. "You're only delaying the inevitable. Humanity's gifts belong to the hegemony." Sarah stepped forward, feeling the energy patterns around her respond to her heightened awareness. They belong to everyone or no one at all. What happened next would become legend in galactic history. Sarah, drawing on her newfound connection to quantum fields, created a resonance cascade. Maya hummed a harmony that amplified the effect. Francois described the transformation in terms of culinary phase transitions, somehow making the abstract tangible. The other humans and freed aliens joined in, each adding their unique perspective to the symphony of resistance. The combined creative force manifested as visible energy, washing over Crix's forces like a tide. Weapons malfunctioned, armor systems failed, and several guards simply dropped their weapons and walked away, their aggression neutralized by the harmonious frequencies. Crix himself stood paralyzed, his armor's systems overwhelmed by patterns it couldn't process. "Impossible," he muttered. "No species can generate such coordinated quantum effects." "No single species," Sarah corrected. "But together, we're more than the sum of our parts." They boarded Kin's ship as reinforcements approached. The vessel, designed for diplomatic missions, wasn't built for combat. But Dr. Turner quickly modified its systems using principles they'd discovered in the lab. "I'm rerouting power through the harmonic resonators," he explained, his fingers flying over alien controls he seemed to understand intuitively. If I can match the frequency we generated earlier. The ship lifted off just as heavy weapons fire erupted around them. But instead of shields, they were protected by a bubble of creative energy that transformed incoming fire into harmless light shows. Setting course for the council chambers, Kin announced. But Crix will have the entire military fleet after us. Not the entire fleet, said a voice from the ship's communicator. Captain Vorik of the Hegemony Defense Force appeared on screen, his reptilian features set in determination. Some of us have suspected the truth for years. You have allies, Ambassador. As they entered fold space, Sarah gathered everyone in the ship's common area. The diversity was staggering. Humans from different eras, aliens of various species, all united by their experience as captives. We need to understand what's really happening, she said. Dr. Marshall, you've been imprisoned the longest. What can you tell us? The elderly physicist's eyes held decades of pain. I discovered zero-point energy in 1952. Within days, they took me. Said humanity wasn't ready, that it would destabilize everything. But they used my work to enhance their own technology. Other stories emerge. Artists whose innovations had revolutionized alien entertainment industries. Scientists whose theories had advanced hegemony medicine. Musicians whose compositions had become the basis for new communication protocols. They've been farming us, Marcus said, disgust evident in his voice, taking our creativity and claiming it as their own advancement. Not all of them, Kin interjected. Many in the hegemony genuinely believe in cooperation, but the military faction has controlled information flow for centuries. Their discussion was interrupted by proximity alarms. They had arrived at the council chambers. But so had Crix's fleet. Hundreds of warships surrounded the massive space station where the Galactic Council convened. They're jamming our communications, reported the Vryn telepath. I can sense the council members' confusion. Crix is telling them we're terrorists. Sarah made a decision. We go in personally. All of us. Let them see the truth with their own eyes. It was a desperate gamble. Using the ship's emergency transporters, they beamed directly into the council chamber, materializing in the center of the vast amphitheater, where representatives from thousands of worlds gathered. The chamber erupted in chaos. Security forces moved to intercept them, but Sarah raised her hands, and the fusion device prototype she grabbed during their escape activated. A sphere of pure energy expanded around them, not as a weapon but as a demonstration. Members of the council, she called out, her voice carried by the energy field to every corner of the chamber. We bring evidence of crimes against sentient beings, of knowledge stolen, and of a conspiracy that threatens the very foundation of the hegemony. Admiral Crix's hologram appeared, towering over the assembly. Don't listen to them. They're dangerous primitives who've stolen classified technology. But Sarah was ready. With Dr. Wei's help, she projected their evidence onto the chamber's massive displays. Records of abductions, neural extraction logs, proof that many of the hegemony's greatest advances had been stolen from species deemed too primitive to deserve credit. The council members watched in stunned silence as the truth unfolded. Several species recognized technologies they thought were hegemony innovations as actually originating from their own missing scientists and artists. This is fabricated, Crix protested, but his support was crumbling. The turning point came when Elderth Mass, the most ancient member of the council, spoke. His crystalline form had witnessed the hegemony's formation millennia ago. I remembered, he said, his voice resonating through dimensions. I remember when we stopped exploring and started taking, when fear replaced curiosity. The humans have shown us what we lost. The vote that followed was decisive. Crix and his faction were stripped of authority. The practice of forced neural extraction was banned, and humanity was offered full membership in the hegemony, not as subjects, but as equals. But Sarah knew this was only the beginning. As she stood before the council, surrounded by beings from across the galaxy, She realized that humanity's true contribution wouldn't be just energy technology. "We offer something more than solutions to your energy crisis," she said. "We offer a new way of thinking, of cooperating, of evolving together." The fusion device was just the beginning. What we've discovered is that creativity itself is the ultimate renewable resource. The council chamber fell silent as her words resonated through the universal translators. Sarah continued, her confidence growing with each word. "When different perspectives combine, human intuition, Vrin telepathy, crystalline logic, Morpher adaptability, we create something greater than any species could achieve alone." Elder Thamas leaned forward, his ancient form pulsing with interest. "You propose a fundamental shift in how our civilization operates." "Yes," Sarah replied. "Instead of taking knowledge, we share it. Instead of dominating species, we collaborate with them. The energy crisis isn't just about power, it's about how we approach problems." Admiral Crix, though stripped of authority, made one last attempt to regain control. "The military fleet still answers to me." "Oh." His words were cut short as Captain Vorig's face appeared on the main display. "Actually, Admiral, they answer to the Council. And we've been monitoring this session. The fleet stands with the Council's decision." Crix's hologram flickered and died as his supporters abandoned him. The shift in power was complete, but Sarah knew the real work was just beginning. In the days that followed, the Council restructured itself. The freed captives were offered positions as advisors, their unique perspectives valued rather than exploited. Sarah's team worked to establish new protocols for interspecies collaboration. "We need to return to Earth," Sarah told Ambassador Kin during a quiet moment. "My people need to know what's happened, what's possible." Kin nodded, her form shifting to mirror Sarah's determined expression. "Earth will need protection during this transition. There are still those who would prefer the old ways. Then we'll face them together," Sarah replied. "As equals."